Well, hello everyone out there in YouTube land. Thank you for sticking with me in this video series. The good news is the course stage is done. These are finished with the grinding. The bad news is there are still lots of little flaws I couldn't grind out. These rocks just were taunting me the entire process. Little fractures just kept popping up. So I've decided to go ahead and move these on to the polishing stages as is. I still think they're going to be beautiful when they're done. They just won't be 100% perfect like I like. That's all right. So in about 8 days, these will be finished. For you, that's going to be in just a second. And just like that, our 8 days of polishing these stones is finished. What do you think? Just a reminder, these were purchased several months ago from my local rock shop. I decided to tumble a variety of different types of agates just to see how they would turn out. So let's take a look at these individually and see if they were worth the money. Well, first up is our river agate. This was $4 per pound. Well, as you can see, the river agate took a nice shine. Some flaws still in it that I could not tumble out, but I'm happy with the polish on it. It definitely has a mirror-like finish. So the store calls these river agates. They may be the same as Bahia agates. I'm not 100% sure. They look like Bahia agates. Currently, I've got a tumble going of nothing but these river agates. It's turning out really nice. That video will be uploaded soon, so be sure and keep an eye out for that. But this is the river agate, $4 per pound river agate from Nature's Treasures in Austin. Next was this black lace agate from China at $5 per pound. This is all that's left of the black lace agate from China. This is $5 per pound and doesn't tumble particularly well. You see it shrunk quite a bit right away, so it's a softer stone and it does not take much of a polish. So I'm afraid this is a bit of a dud, especially $5 per pound. Then there was this chunk of raspberry seam agate at $6 per pound. Here's the raspberry seam agate. The $6 per pound raspberry seam agate. I tried to tumble this one smooth, but it was one of those that just kept fighting me every step of the way. It has some beautiful colors in it. Took a great shine, as you can see, a mirror-like finish. But there were some soft sections in there that didn't tumble. I couldn't get rid of these spalls. It's still a pretty rock. Then we had this 1970s Malawi classic agate at $7 per pound. This is that 1970s Malawi classic. $7 per pound at the store. Maybe the greatest transformation of all of these rocks that I tumbled. As you can see, it took a great shine, but it's loaded with fractures and pits and other little distractions. However, I still think this is a very good looking rock, in spite of all of its flaws. Next up was this chunk of Rio Grande agate at $8 per pound. Here's that giant Rio Grande agate, $8 per pound at the store. Took a pretty good shine. Maybe not as glassy as the others, but it's close. As you can see, it has a tremendous variety of patterns and details in it. You got a little banding, you got just some chalcedony sections, maybe a little mossy stuff in there. I don't know. It's a pretty rock. Again, this is a Rio Grande agate at $8 per pound. After that, we have this Montana agate at $10 per pound. And of course, this is the Montana agate. $10 per pound at the store. Always takes a great shine. However, this one also would not tumble perfectly for me. As you can see, I still have some flaws in there. But I decided it was time to move on and get these things polished. Making these videos is just starting to take me way too long trying to get these stones perfect for you. I'll still continue to try, but I'm not going to let these go for 6 months just to get rid of all these little flaws. I still think it's a good looking stone. What do you think? It's got a bit of a crystal sort of section there, which is interesting. Like I said, great shine, a great mirror-like shine on this thing. Next up is this low-grade condor agate at $10 a pound as well. Another big transformation rock. The condor low-grade agate. This one had all that host rock on it, which eventually grinded away, leaving only this little middle section, which isn't too interesting, I'm afraid. Parts of it took a great shine, though. But this one is definitely falling into the dud category. Next was this Regency Rose Graveyard Agate, also at $10 per pound. Here's the Regency Rose Graveyard Agate at $10 per pound. I like the way this one turned out. It took quite a bit of tumbling to get it smooth like this, and there are still some small flaws in it. But look at the beautiful detail in this thing. That section reminds me of roses right there, rose petals. What do you think? A pretty, pretty little agate, I think. Then there was this Agate Creek agate from Australia at $15 a pound. This is that $15 per pound Agate Creek agate from Australia. I had high hopes for this one, but as you can see, this rough pitted section never would grind away. In other words, it went through the rock for the most part, so I had to stop. All that was left of the good stuff was just this small end section here, which I did go ahead and get a nice polish on, but the rest of it, as you can see, is mostly this pitted host rock material. I have several more of these that I'll be tumbling in the future. Hopefully they will have more of this good stuff and less of this bad stuff. This, of course, is a Mozambique agate at $17 per pound. Ah, the Mozambique agate, one of my all-time favorites. For a mere $17 per pound, you can buy these and get a shine like this. These almost never disappoint. Look at some of the detail in this thing. Those little sticks or tubes in there. You see the colors, you've got some purples and some blues, and then the white cloudy areas. What a beautiful stone. I could have kept tumbling it in the coarse grit and get rid of all these little tiny little holes, but I decided not to. I just love the shine on these things. Next up, we have this Condor mid-grade agate at $30 per pound. Here's our Condor mid-grade, $30 per pound for this thing. As you can see, it had a problem. Houston, we have a problem. So after the 600 grit in the vibratory tumbler, there was a large piece of ceramic stuck in there, and I went to pop it out, and this thing just split open on me. So you can see it had a nice crystal pocket inside there. And needless to say, it's sort of a bust. It wasn't turning out all that great anyway. A little bit of good detail in there. Nice shine in sections, but it's pretty much useless now. That's the $30 per pound Condor mid-grade agate. May it rest in peace. This is the La Alianza Laguna agate at $65 per pound. There's that $65 per pound La Alianza Laguna agate. Another one that's disappointing. It just wouldn't tumble down to something that I really wanted to see. There's that nice banding there, and you can see that there's nice bits of chalcedony in this thing that did take a great polish, but there's so much of the ugly stuff left on it. So very disappointed in this one. Probably would have been better to cut this and turn it into maybe a cabochon or something. But that's how it goes sometimes with these rocks. This was just a nice big chunk of carnelian I got from a Facebook seller. Here's that big chunk of carnelian. I got this from a wonderful Facebook seller. I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't very expensive. Carnelian usually takes a great shine, and this is no exception. I didn't try to tumble out all of these little flaws. It was just going to take way too long. So I called it and said, let's polish it as is. And I kind of like it like this. It's not perfectly smooth, but it has some character. And finally, this small piece of ultraviolet plume agate, also from a Facebook seller. Here's our last stone, this ultraviolet plume agate. Well, what can you say? It's small, but it's shiny, has a decent tumble on it, maybe one or two small flaws, but for the most part, it's just about perfect. And if I were to hold this under a UV light, it would glow, so there you go. There you have it. I can't thank you guys enough for sticking with me on this little tumbling adventure. I think the rocks turned out pretty good for the most part, with the usual duds here and there. I especially like this one. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure and check my other videos. I have lots more like this.